2022 was shaping up to be a pretty darn good year for Will Smith, an Oscar for Best Actor in a Leading Role, and upcoming projects like the $100 million Apple drama called Emancipation. A remake of the classic comedy Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was in the works, too, with Kevin Hart. And, there was a new season of the Disney Plus nature series called Welcome to Earth. And since Will is such a mega brand, of course, he wasn't just starring in those projects. He had a piece of the action, too, with his production company, Westbrook Studios. Incidentally, that company was just valued at $600 million earlier this year. All this, of course, is pre-slap. Post-slap? That's a good question. I want to bring in J. Christopher Hamilton. He is an attorney specializing in the monetization of content for film, television, and online. He's also a professor at Syracuse's Newhouse School. J. Christopher, thanks for coming back on. So, Disney, are they going to want to continue being in business with Will Smith, given this performance?
Definitely not for the duration that he's considered to be canceled, right? We know how sensitive Disney can be when it comes to their brand and the folks they partner with, and their entire legacy is built on family-friendly branded content. So no, Disney and other media companies of its sort are going to continue to distance themselves from Will while he's the pariah of Hollywood. But again, I wouldn't count the man out by no means. This is not the end of Will Smith. I think there are numerous examples, well, maybe not numerous, but a handful of examples for sure, that illustrate the ability to bounce back when you're an icon of his stature.
Well, I'm trying to think of one, and all I could think of was sort of the Mel Gibson thing, but I'll be honest, Mel Gibson is a shadow of his former self.
Yes, indeed. Mel Gibson, his anti-Semitic remarks definitely, put him at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of, Hollywood box office drawers. But he went on to become extremely successful as he rebounded. Now, again, we can't measure Mel Gibson by today's standards because, that moment where he bottomed out and then bounced back to the top, the apex of that would have been the success of Hacksaw Ridge, a film that, he got a standing ovation in 2016 at the Venice Film Festival. He was nominated for all kind of awards and prestige. He was welcomed back into the agency ranks. He was formerly with WME, and his agent at the time fired him, Ari Emanuel, but then he was welcomed back into the agency ranks at CAA, which is even a more prestigious organization, right? So Mel Gibson, all things considered, he was able to rebound, make a lot of money, become, again, another darling of Hollywood in the prime of his rebound, but has since then begun to flame out because of ageism in Hollywood and other issues.
But I can't imagine calling him a darling of Hollywood. But we had a banner on the bottom of the screen that really made me want to ask you about the stock value, because if you look at a Hollywood celebrity in terms of a stock, there is actually a buying opportunity here, isn't there? If you think about buying into projects with Will Smith, working on them for a year or two, shelving them maybe until his value goes up, and then you buy low, sell high.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I would do. If I was in the business right now with a ton of cash, I would say, hey, this should be a fire sale on all things Will Smith, right? His value has plummeted, but his desire to continue to work in the business, I don't think has. I think he tends to continue to be a factor in his business. And everything we know about Will Smith, he's a fighter. He's a man who overcomes odds and adversity. I don't think, notwithstanding his resignation from the Academy, I don't think he has any intention on leaving Hollywood. He's going to regroup with his team, figure out the next strategy forward, and he's going to be back in the limelight at some point in the near future.
Okay, so Denzel was asked over the weekend by Pastor T.D. Jakes what he thought. I mean, he asked him to comment on the thing, that happened. And Denzel, embraced Will and gave him a snuggle after this awful assault. And so I want to play what Denzel said to T.D. Jakes. Take a look.
There's a saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait a minute, I'm not done now. The devil goes, oh, no, leave him alone. Hey, he's my favorite. Don't bother him.
Yeah.
Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because you're trying to do something right. And for whatever reason, the devil got a hold of him.
Okay, so Jay Christopher, that's not a condemnation, and I'm curious if this is going to help Will or harm Denzel.
Well, look, Denzel has stepped into the role of our elder statesman of Hollywood amongst all of the major, stars, especially Black males of Will's ilk. I don't think this is going to in any way tarnish Denzel's reputation or his stature. What he's showing is grace and a willingness to extend some understanding. Again, we started this conversation in our last discussion. We didn't get a chance to finish it, but I think we're making we're making this into a huge issue, primarily because I think we're not looking at it within a greater context. If we were looking at the incident Will was a part of for slapping Chris Rock from a mental health perspective, a man who had a mental breakdown, who was under an exorbitant amount of pressure and stress, considering all of the family issues he's going through in the public, along with private matters we may not be aware of, we wouldn't have the same issue. And again, when we look at other Hollywood icons who've literally melted down in front of us, maybe not engaged in fisticuffs or any kind of brawl or hurting another person like a battery, but they've melted down. We know his former partner, Martin Lawrence, had a mental breakdown, I think in 2006, I think it was 2006, early 2000s, where he brandished a gun running around the streets half naked. We've seen Mariah Carey and many others just literally crumble in front of us, in front of the camera, because of the mental pressure, the emotional pressure. I think oftentimes mental health, as well as illicit, drugs may have been a part of it. Not saying that was Will's issue, but what I'm pointing out with Will is, I think we have to look at it within the context of what this man was going through. And again, another conversation we started, we didn't get a chance to finish. There are certain communities and certain circles, whereas what he did is not this aberration that needs to be condemned. It's a matter of, it wasn't the right thing to do. It was unlawful. It was brutal. It was inappropriate. It was uncivilized. But altercations like that happen, especially when people are under this kind of pressure. And I don't think we should cancel him permanently for losing his cool, even at the degree he lost it.
Yeah, you know what? We aren't done this conversation. You brought up so many things that I'd love to plumb a little further. So you got to come back. That's an open invite.
Please. We'd love to.
Thanks, Jay Christopher Hamilton. Nice to see you again. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. Take care.
Coming up, being welcomed back by the public is one thing, but how about the rest of Hollywood? Who will be the first celeb to jump into business with the Fresh Prince? And who will go the route of Amy Schumer, who has already written the fiasco into her jokes? We're going to get her take